Everybody talks about success once it looks clean. This clip is about the messier part people usually leave out.
Actually getting to fight.
Well, I was sorry. You didn't try to fight. You did fight.
Yeah.
But we're watching you. Like, what is the push? Why do you keep going further and further? And I saw you recently say you're going to play in the NFL. Like, how about you enjoy your millions and chill, bro?
That's not what it's about, you know? Like, I like doing fun, crazy things and proving people wrong and building a career and a legacy that could never be matched or copied and something unique in its own right, and then bringing up people with me. I mean, that's what we've done with MVP. And since the start, it was like, all right, clearly I can change boxing as like a fighter, but I can be more impactful outside of the ring and help other fighters who were underpaid and not having the spotlight that they deserved. And the business of boxing was very weird, shady, corrupt. And so we came in and just like really professionalized it. But I do chill on my ranch. I got 6,000 acres. I do have a lot of but yeah, it's like I do enjoy this life, but I enjoy working. I enjoy creating and bringing things to life. And
he's only 29. I mean, he's got a long way to go. If you think about what he's accomplished by this age, not just as a creator, but as a boxer, as a promoter, it's unheard of. But that drive is like insane. He was texting me last night about now we turn this into a $5 billion company. So I'm excited that he still has that desire to build and disrupt and become leaders in everything that he does.
That's what I want to ask about, though, the disruption, right? You guys at MVP were the first to ever get a female fighter a 7-figure payday in Amanda Serrano. And now you guys move in to mixed martial arts. I mean, Francis Ngannou is on the card, Ronda Rousey, Mike Perry, Nate Diaz. Like, I'm a huge mixed martial arts fan. As you've continued to build and add extra pieces, what was the start of the vision in saying to yourself, okay, this is what we eventually want to be, and how did you guys put some of those goals and check marks in place?
First time I met Jake was October of 2019. I didn't know who he was, shame on me. But he said, hey, I want to be a fighter, I want to be a rapper, I want to be an actor, I want to be an investor, and I'm a YouTuber. And most importantly, I want to start a fighters union because fighters don't get paid enough. And I think they're the creators, because he was a creator. They should be getting paid more. And that was really the start of it. And I quickly came to realize that if Jake was serious about boxing, which he was, not only could we make him one of the biggest stars of all time in the sport, he's been in the sport for 5 years. 3 of the past 5 years, he's been the top 50 paid athletes of all time. But really using the attention that he brings, right? The eyeballs that focus on him to build a platform, to provide push for other fighters, and then do deals that disrupt the entire landscape. If you think about Amanda Serrano that we mentioned earlier, the first time 2 women ever headlined Madison Square Garden was Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, MVP, put that event on in 2022 and gave it the first 7-figure payday in women's boxing. We've obviously quadrupled down in women's boxing. We have the largest stable of women in the world, and we're partners with ESPN in the US, Sky in the UK, and now it's turned into the focus of what can we do in MMA. Right. And that first event set records. We have the highest viewership in the history of the United States of America for an MMA event. And that's pretty amazing when you think they had an event at the White House with the most famous man in the world and President Trump pushing that event. When Conor McGregor came back a few weeks ago after 5 years. For us to achieve that, it was clear that MMA was the next leg of our strategy.
Well, and speaking of that, you know, you've been in the building at the UFC. You understand what that vehicle is, what that monster has become. Tell us a little bit about this merger now that's been announced with PFL, and, you know, we'll talk to their CEO here soon as well. What was the vision in that? Because if you look at some of the fighters that they have on the card now, even in the fight that we'll be seeing soon in Nurmagomedov, and you have Kogan, you have Dakota, who's undefeated as well. There's a stable of fighters there that are ready to become stars, and you guys seem like the star makers.
Yeah, I think, look, it all goes back to what Jake and I always say. We're a fighter-first organization. UFC was the great learning ground for me, both good and bad. And there's no doubt that they're the best promotional entity in the world in terms of being a large organization that has capabilities that others don't. But what we've done in 5 years, no sports entity in history has. And we've done it without losing a single dollar. We've broken record after record. And there's no better person in the world than Jake Paul to bring attention and engagement to a product. So PFL has amazing athletes. John Martin, who is our new CEO, sent me an article not too long ago that says PFL's on an incredible run, but more people need to watch and know about it. And that's what we're going to do together.
I want to ask, how did you change the structure? How did y'all change the structure for fighters? Because you keep saying it's way different. You're empowering fighters. How did you change
Number
the
one
structure?
is revenue share, right? The vast majority of the revenue, always 50% plus, should go to the fighters. That doesn't exist at UFC. They always say, oh, fighter compensation has gone up, but it hasn't kept up with the entity's compensation. As you guys know, in most ball and stick sports, the rev share is 50%, close to. That's nowhere near the case with UFC and TKO. They have some of the biggest margins in the world, and that's driven by athletes. And that's what he said to me in 2019 is these athletes need to get a bigger part of the pie.
Yeah, no, I mean, the UFC is paying roughly like 10% of their earnings when it should be closer to 50%. That's why you see all of them wanting to go and box and, you know, cross over into the sport of boxing where the money has been bigger. And that's, you know, this merger has combined a boxing entity and an MMA entity, and now fighters can do both. We can have them do a big boxing event, or they can go and do MMA like I'm going to do in the near future as well. So I think that's never been done before, and really that's what fighters want. They want the flexibility to be able to do what they want and to make the money that they deserve. They also want the viewership. They want the credentials out there in the world. They want to be famous and known for their craft. And there hasn't been a place where MMA fighters can go and get the same amount of viewership as the UFC, if not more. Yeah. And so that, I think, was the missing piece, even beyond the money. And now, even with other leagues and fight organizations, I think we'll see fighters, you know, that will hopefully fight out of their contracts to be able to come into our organization and get the pay and the freedom and flexibility that they deserve.
Jake, is it all about, for you, because you are a creator, because you are a fighter, how have you continued as also a co-founder and owner to keep that fighter first mentality? Because the margins would go to you two, right, as the founders and the owners, if you wouldn't give the fighters so much. What has made you so steadfast in staying that way?
Yeah, it's a great question, and this is what we've always said is Nikisa is a wealthy man before we started this company. I am a wealthy man before.
That is the part worth sitting with. Would you still chase the same thing if everyone saw the road it took to get there? Leave your take in the comments and like and subscribe for more clips like this.